Want to see Brian at a 110? Hell no, dude. Listen, man, we've it's happened. Never mind. Yeah, we ain't getting, like, we'll go maybe 30, maybe 40. All right, let's go.
Are you hungry at all? I ended up grabbing your meal.
No, I'm good. We get fed real well in the LSPD. Have a seat. All right, let's hear it. Reasonable suspicion.
Reasonable suspicion. Lowest level. No solid evidence. Must be more than a hunch. Basically, cops can stop you, but they can't search you.
All right, come back tomorrow.
Okay. That's not really a bench trial, though.
Remember, I told you there's two things I told you. One is when you come back, when I ask you what is reasonable suspicion and what is probable cause, I want the definition and then its applicability. Is that the definition you looked up, Mr. What's your name?
Luciano King.
Luciano King. Did you look up anything on RS?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And that's the definition you got?
Yes. Down like my yes.
Huh? Really? Let's hear it again.
Yeah, that's
what is a reasonable suspicion?
The lowest level, no solid evidence, must be more than a hunch.
Of what though? There's no context.
Of a crime.
Did it say of a crime in the definition?
No. Okay, so you told me to look up a YouTube video, to be fair. I did that. I immediately went and practiced and everything. You also said there was going to be a bench trial.
Here's what I would expect, all right? I'm going to give you a second chance here. Now, I understand that the training that tends to happen, both in our departments as well as among the DOJ, to not really any fault of anyone. I mean, ain't nobody got time to fucking train somebody. Reality of the matter. I can understand that you may have been exceptionally misguided. Officers depend on RS and PC. Why? It's the foundations of how we function. Our ability to articulate a crime. It's not about shooting. It's not about driving, because all those things come second. You don't have a good reason to detain somebody. All of a sudden, you're about to get fucked in the ass if you're up against a good defendant. You with me so far?
Yes, fucked in the ass.
Fucked in the goddamn ass. Anyways. Articulation as to how you acquire a reasonable suspicion is important. And in turn, that definition needs to be fucking solid. It's like anything else in life. It's like anything else in life there, Mr. Luciano.
Yes.
Is that if you don't understand the definition, then what the fuck do you know? No offense.
I mean, to be fair, I just explained what reasonable suspicion is. If you want me to give you the actual definition, I can do that.
Yes.
Okay. Reasonable suspicion, last time I checked, is a legal standard of proof of the United States that is less than probable cause. The legal standard for arrest warrants, but more than a incoherent and unparticularized, I don't know.
Reasonable suspicion is the belief a crime may have, has, or will be committed based on evidence, circumstances, and officer training. Probable cause is the reasonable belief, which is a reasonable belief is a legal definition, that a crime has, will, or has, will, or will be committed based on facts, circumstances, and evidence. Each one of those words, specific, important. Do you know why, Mr. Luciano? Why every word and the way things are phrased matter?
Yes, because when making an arrest, a criminal will do everything possible to undo what just happened.
Correct. Second, why else is it important when it comes to court?
It is important for an officer to be able to be very clear, precise when presenting his case, so that the criminal does not get away and pays for his crimes.
Why else?
So you don't look stupid?
It's because the law is fundamentally about intricacy. Sometimes you'll hear, well, let's just call them dog shit lawyers or individuals that think that they understand the law but don't understand the law complain that, man, somebody's looking for loopholes. They're twisting the words in the definition. Well, no fucking shit, because that's how the goddamn legal system works. That's why people spend years meticulously writing and precisely jotting down contracts and whatnot. Have you ever heard of how much a contract lawyer gets paid? Quite a lot.
Very rarely. Yeah,
a lot.
But that's if they actually get paid.
I mean, places outside of Los Santos. They get paid a lot of money. And you might understand why. They're just writing a bunch of words on a page. It's because every phrase, every sentence, every choice of word matters. And anyone that tells you otherwise doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, that's how you steal someone's complete business, by rewording everything perfectly right, and later, if they piss you off.
Exactly. That's why every legal terms are important as well. Now, you might be asking yourself the question, why the fuck am I getting talked down to? Because someone gave you a bar license, and it's perfectly fine, and you probably got some kind of training, but we have a much higher standard of training within the LSPD. You with me so far?
Absolutely.
Because when you go into that court case, it's not just your briefcase that you're going to be putting on the table. It's going to be that entire long fucking erect penis. Long dick of the law, Mr. Luciano.
And I'm willing to drop it.
And I'm the goddamn Viagra.
I will swallow. I've seen some of the work. Like I've said before, I've been in that room, and I might not be as experienced as you, Mr. Bryan, but I can fuck someone in the courtroom.
All right. Well, here's the thing. I'm less concerned about what you know today. I'm more concerned of how much effort you're willing to put in. How much time you're willing to put in. That is always the more important thing, because anyone who comes down to the table and says, I know everything, well, they already fucked up. Because even I don't know anything. My superiors don't know everything. We're always learning, Mr. Luciano, day in, day out. And anytime any individual, whether it's this line of work or any other kind of line of work, decides that they've hit their peak, well, now they're a problem. They're somebody that is going to become stubborn and set in their ways. Articulation, Mr. Luciano. All right? Now, my expectation is that tomorrow when you come in and I ask you what is RS and what is PC, I want the full definition. Each word specifically memorized, because if you manage to do that, I know that everything that comes after it, is more likely to be par for course. Let me throw you an example here, all right? When can you detain someone, Mr. Luciano?
When you have probable cause.
Negative.
Evidence that a crime has
When you
committed.
have reasonable suspicion, it's detainment. It only requires suspicion of a crime. Let's try it again.
Yeah, but detainment in the city requires us cuffing them, and
negative.
Well, that's what happens mostly.
Nope. Yes. Pretend you delete everything in your mind as to what you know about law. Trust me when I say that you've probably been filled with a bunch of dumb shit.
Okay.
Who trained you?
Multiple different lawyers.
Give me names.
I forgot her name. She doesn't come around too often.
Well, that's probably part of the problem.
Okay. Probably Bill. It was one of them.
Bill Mays?
Murphy for one case.
Murphy's very good. Wait, were you actually... Look, I'm not trying to shit on your entire life. All right? Mm-hmm. I want you to be better, so don't take this the wrong way. I hope you're not too much of a pussy and you get caught in your feelings, because that's not what I operate on. You get me? Feelings get in the fucking way. All right? I want you to even speak with your goddamn chest, all right?
Absolutely.
All right, fantastic. In all honesty, do you actually get trained to become a lawyer, or like how does that work?
No, not at all.
Oh fuck. Well, that's probably why.
Most of the lawyers don't even know what they're doing. But
Well,
like
I've
I
seen
said,
that.
I am 4-0.
Same thing as with our officers as well. So, well, I mean, think about it, right? One untrained attorney versus another untrained attorney, it's going to look like a coin flip. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Luciano. Whether you're a police officer or whether you're a criminal, whether you're a defense attorney or whether you're prosecution, 99% of the time when a trial ends, if you're on the losing side, motherfuckers out there crying, not even listening as to why the judge made the ruling. And on the flip side, the same thing happens. People don't even fucking listen to the judges or understand what the hell is coming out of their mouth. So it should not be a surprise that there's a lot of misinformation out there. So
Yep.
here are the things when what videos did you look up?
I watched a YouTube video that it completely explained what reasonable
Do you know
doubt was in
who it
PC
was?
and explanations. Yeah, give me a second. It was Law Office of John Goodry, PA.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can look up some better videos for you because I don't know who the fuck that is. All right, detainment only requires reasonable suspicion. If you needed probable cause, then you'd never be able to question anyone, stop anybody. If you saw someone running away from a, let me throw you an example. All right, alarm goes off at a bank. You see an individual running away from said bank. Do you have RS or do you have PC?
You have RS to be able to stop him and see what's going on.
Yes, and you know that's a detainment, right?
Yeah, I mixed being cuffed and detained completely. So that's
all right. You ready for this? I'm about to send a bunch of shit your way. I don't expect you to retain it all. The moment a police officer suspects you of a crime, and it needs to, is it illegal to be suspicious?
No.
Is RS specific to a particular crime?
No.
Yes.
Reasonable suspicion is specific to a specific crime? What crime would that be?
Well, whatever crime that's on the penal code. So in other words, you cannot just be suspicious. Think about it this way. Old woman, possibly racist, in an apartment building, and she makes a phone call to the police complaining about someone because of her racism. If the police come down and they find said individual, they can't just fucking detain the guy. What the fuck did he do? He didn't do anything. Just some fucking crazy old woman that's probably, well past her expiration date.
Mm-hmm. But if a phone call comes in of a possible breaking and entering, and then we're looking around and we find someone and we have reasonable suspicion if they're close to the said property to speak to them. Clearly,
yes.
Right?
And what is the RS for? Burglary at that point.
Yes.
Now let's say
it's specific to
scenario,
a crime, not one crime.
Yes. So let's say I were to detain you on said burglary. How long can that detention entail?
Not very long once because they're not under arrest, so they could leave once you realize that you don't have anything.
Negative.
No.
Close. That detention can only last until the suspicion remains. In other words, as that individual is being questioned, as that individual is possibly being frisked, etc., if the reasonable suspicion, think of it as reasonable suspicion can disappear as more facts and evidence and circumstances present themselves. And as soon as that RS disappears, even if deep down you're like, this motherfucker did it, you must let that individual go as that detainment otherwise becomes illegal.
You brought up frisk. That wouldn't be able to happen unless you had probable cause, correct?
Negative. Frisking is part of a case law that, well, have you heard of the Terry frisk? Do you know what the Terry frisk is?
No.
Well, as you'll find out, a lot of case laws were, you know, the reason I bring up racism, obviously don't use that loosely in the city, but when it comes to law, it's sometimes important to reference, particularly in this case, because a lot of the baseline of why certain things came into place is because in the 50s, in the 60s, I'm sure you're aware, a lot of inequality, et cetera, and yet a lot of police officers doing things against minorities because they're pieces of shit human beings that were abusing their power, which still happens today. But, you know, Terry versus Ohio, aka the Terry frisk, allows a officer to stop someone and frisk them if they believe if they can articulate that said individual may pose a violent threat. Hence the Terry frisk. So, for example, if you were to, because TLDR, motherfuckers used to get like entirely full searched because the guy was racist. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. So, and the reason it's worth pointing that out is because there are even like parallels to draw within Los Santos, right? Just because some guy is dressed a certain way, has a bandana, you cannot profile that individual, right? So while there was some kind of profiling in, like, let's say the 50s or 60s, you know, profiling goes well beyond other aspects too. Now, that doesn't necessitate that if, let's say, you're down on the south side by the barrio and there's people wearing yellow, that's distinctly different, right? Versus someone wearing a certain style of clothes, for example. Detaining someone for wearing a certain style of clothes is a level type of profiling that should never take place.
Yes, unless it was clothes that was identified at a crime, and that's what your reasonable suspicion was.
Exactly. All right. So, if an individual is detained, that individual can be frisked if you are able to articulate why that individual may be carrying a weapon or may be violent. Now, in a burglary, is it likely the guy may have tools or weapons on them? If that is, yeah, there you go. But if I were to, say, detain you in a traffic stop, would I inherently be able to frisk you?
No, unless
I don't want to hear the unless. I don't want to hear unless.
No. In a regular traffic stop, no.
Good.
You would not be able to just detain.
Very good. Now, the reason I'm stopping you on the unlesses is it just enters into all, like, we can go down rabbit holes for each and everything that's said. But precision is important. All right, fantastic. What about if a vehicle, let's say, were stolen? It was flagged stolen. It was flagged as a stolen vehicle. If you were to get that individual out, would you be able to frisk him?
Yes, because your probable cause is clear that he is in a stolen vehicle.
All right. When can you search an individual?
When you are positive that you have the evidence of a crime.
If you have probable cause.
Yep.
You see how meticulous I am with some of these answers? This is kind of where I want you to be. Now, obviously, you're not going to get there today. You're not going to get there tomorrow. But the sooner you get there, the better. Now, I don't know. Let's say this interview goes well, and I end up recommending you. There's plenty of opportunity to go look up and get yourself acquainted. Why? Because how interested are you actually in the law? Or do you think it's dog shit? Be honest with me.
I'm interested in being a part of it and properly enforcing it.
So I'm going to set you in the right direction. What that's going to allow you to do is that even if, let's say I say, all right, I like this guy. I fuck with him. All right. And let's say it's like 3 weeks before, you're accepted into the, as a cadet. That's 3 weeks where you can be looking into the shit so that the moment you get that, start getting FTO'd, you got your shit better than maybe the FTO yourself.
Very nice.
That's my expectation of you, Mr. Luciano. Is that something you'd be willing to do?
I mean, I'm going to be studying regardless, on the job, not off the job. I'd like to know what the fuck I'm doing when I'm doing it.
Hell yeah. Be very cautious about who tells you what. Like I said, a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of people that stand tall and speak proud, but the moment you start to poke at some of their statements, they fall all the fuck apart. You know what you call those people?
Pussies?
Hell yeah. All right. All right. Well, shit. Okay. Well, I'm gonna throw you something else. All right.
Alrighty.
I got another one for you, and these are trick questions. I don't expect most people to know the answers to these, but you'd be surprised how much I believe them to be fundamental to police work. Because if you're dog shit at your fundamentals, you're gonna be dog shit at everything else. Let's say you were to frisk me. You have RS that I may have committed a crime. Let's say burglary. You frisk me. You feel some kind of bulge. Can you then search me?
If I was frisking you, and I also asked you if there was any weapons.
I'm not
or anything
answering
like that?
any questions. No, let's say I'm a fucking dick. All right, I'm not answering any of your questions. I'm,
Yes.
remaining silent. You frisk me in belief that I may have a weapon. You feel a bulge. Can you search me?
At that point, I'd yell, "Going for cuffs!" And then I would turn him around, and yes, I would then frisk him, because for officer safety, I'd be very worried after being reported of a burglary that I might get shot if I ask him what this bulge is.
Okay. Ignore the cuffs. Can you search me for the weapon? Or
yes.
Search me
for
for
a
what
bulge?
may be a weapon.
Yes, that is enough evidence, including the what you were called there for the burglary, for officer safety to go ahead and search him.
Okay. Do you and how would you conduct that search?
I would first ask him what he has on him. If he is not complying, I would then let him know that I will be searching him at this time. And then, if he does something other than while I'm searching him, then we'll have to put him in cuffs. But you don't actually have to put him in cuffs until you find out what is actually in his pocket.
The answer that I expect of my cadets, and by my, I mean the ones that I train, is that the answer to that question is you search the specific area of the bulge. Too often do certain things get missed. I don't know how to put this in city words. Where a bulge is seen as the free reign to search the entirety of a person's fucking, like, they'll fucking search your asshole if you have a bulge. That is inherently illegal. And as if I were a defense attorney, I would fuck someone in the ass for not being able to articulate why an entire search of a person's body was done. And I'm going to give you an example why. If, for example, you had a brick of cocaine on your person, tucked in your asshole, and I detained you, and I'm using extreme examples to paint the picture a little bit clearer, that let's say this fucking brick of cocaine is up your asshole and you're not going to feel a bulge. And you're detained for a burglary. I then go ahead and frisk you. I feel the bulge. And let's say I idiotically do an entire frisk of said body. I find the weapon, but continue with my search and put my hand up your ass and pull out the brick of cocaine. Are you going to jail for having a brick of cocaine? And let's say the weapon was legal, by the way, came back to you. Are you going to jail for that brick of cocaine?
That officer at that point would probably, but it's up to the defense attorney to have that thrown out.
Correct.
Because of reason the fucking fruit of a poisonous tree.
Yes, exactly. Because you were illegally searched. My expectation is that you don't be lazy. Officers don't need to fucking go from 0 to 1,000 for an arrest because it's not a fucking race. There is no, scoreboard as to how many arrests and what kind of arrests you've made. It's the quality of said arrests. And what that means is, if you were to find a bulge on a person, the first thing you're going to do is ask such individual where that bulge is. If they're like, it's going to be in my left pocket, then the only fucking thing that you're putting your hand in for is that gun. Anything on that person, you are not going to touch the other parts of their body. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
The only time that will escalate to that is, let's say that weapon came up hot, related to the crime, probable cause was actually built up, at which point you do have the legal authority to do a full search. But if I find you sticking your hand up someone's ass to pull out a brick of cocaine just because you felt a bulge, well, quite frankly, you're a lazy cop. You understand the kind of officers I'm looking for?
No, absolutely. And it's funny that you explain it that way, because most people will never look at it that way, not realizing they could make that argument.
Well, there's a reason why I was trained by Soze, Andrews, AJ Walker, or AJ Hunter, Angel, Snow. These guys know what they're fucking doing, and trust me when I heeded their words. That's my expectation by all of us. Now, if you can't do those things, and for some reason you're deciding you want to become an officer because you guys want to just like kick in some fucking doors and get some media arrest for God knows what fucking reason, you're not going to get any respect from me. Yeah, you might get some claps, and you might be standing up on podiums saying, oh man, I just threw someone in for the fucking nines. But if I look at that docket case and it's dog shit, well, I may not tell you to your face, but deep down, I'm going to be like, wow, that's some dog shit officer right there. Thinking that they're doing fucking well. Hell goddamn no. Does that concern you?
No, not at all.
Good.
I'll make sure that shit is right.
Now, you understand, you're starting to see the picture as to why I'm drilling into these very specific fundamentals and why they matter?
Yes.
It's not a protecting just for you. We are here to obey and survive. But at some level, we need to serve and protect. And how the fuck are you protecting anybody if you're just outright,
vigilante shit.
Exactly. That's not to say sometimes you got to do a couple things when it's necessary. But, I think there's distinct differences as well.
Yeah, you don't have to escalate if you just do your job right.
Look, I think I got you some homework, all right?
Okay.
What I'd like you to do is I want you to look up Audit the Audit. He's actually pretty good. I don't think he's actually got a bar degree, but he actually dives into particular details. Audit the Audit. Go to his YouTube channel. Search detainment. Search for illegal searches. And I want you to really pay attention to why and what occurs in those particular cases. All right? And meticulously why certain things are right and why certain things are wrong. We do not live in a city where things are black and white. Simply because two things may be similar shapes and colors do not mean that they're the same sizes. Do you want me to break down what I just said in a different way?
I mean, you can if you want. I'll listen.
Okay.
But I got Audit the Audit down. Okay.
All right. What I'm trying to say is a lot of times people compare apples and oranges and think it's the same fucking thing when it's obviously not. Reality is that they're too lazy to think past the immediate and what's in front of them.
Okay.
All right. Get out there, get acquainted, become a goddamn fucking legal nerd, all right? And we'll do another one of these once I'm back from vacation. But I am also send me an email with your full name and your state ID.
Yeah, no problem.
And you haven't changed your mind 30 hours a week?
No,
3 months?
the 30 hours is completely fine.
All right, very good. You have a problem with me talking to you this way? Pussy?
Nope.
All right.
I deal with it on a basis from judges, actually.
All right. I don't like to mince words. It's a waste of fucking time.
Hey, what do you think on judges that that add charges due to lack of police work?
Adding charges is in the discretion of a judge, and that is inherently something that they have the right to do.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah. It's always something they can do. That's why it's dangerous to bring things to court. Because if the evidence is overwhelming, charges are set by... you have to understand that fundamentally, police officers only prescribe crimes. We're like diagnostic doctors. You capture someone, you have a set of probable cause, you enter those statements and evidence into court, you are simply prescribing it. And then it is up to the district attorney to look at said stuff and ascertain what the charges they are going to aim for. And then it is up to the judges to disseminate that evidence, etc., and come up with the proper set of charges. Sometimes that might be more charges, sometimes that might be less. And I understand that occasionally judges will add things and people will be all up in arms, but it's mostly because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about and don't realize that judges have always had that ability, and it's been part of our justice system since day one. Moral of the story here is there's a lot of stupid people that say a lot of stupid things and a lot of echo chambers that just can, spread around misinformation. You're not going to be one of those guys, Luciano.
No, I like to be precise and clear on the information that I have at hand.
Good fucking shit. Now get out there and start watching some YouTube videos with some popcorn.
Hell yeah. Oh, and maybe a little mint chocolate chip.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. I'm locked in.